Hello, this is Bill Cooper, and I am here in WRUU Studios and for the Sunday night show at 5 o'clock. And it's called Savannah at Night. Station identification now before I turn this over. WRUU LP, Savannah, Georgia 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. And tonight my guests are two friends of mine, and you're going to get to really like them as I do. I have Miss Melanie Goldie and her fiance, Matt Fafford. And welcome.
Oh, hey,
Nice to be here.
Thanks for having us, Bill.
Thank you.
The purpose of the show for you folks just catching us maybe for the first time is what we're trying to do is get people in Savannah and the Savannah area interested in the arts that are going on here in Savannah. This is a great city. We have an awful lot going on. We have plays, musicals, comedy, poetry, everything. And what I wanted to do was bring in some of the people. I've been connected with the arts for 13 years here in Savannah, and I want to bring in some of the people that I know that provide a ton of entertainment here. And this is WRUU LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. WRUU is now collecting items for the annual Savannah Soundings fundraising auction. The auction will run from July 15th to July 30th, with proceeds going to WRUU to continue providing both great music and a voice for the Savannah community. Auction items range from gift cards to vouchers for products and services that are guaranteed to delight and surprise. Tell everyone you know about donating and about the auction. Donations can be made now. For information on donation, contact Trent Kissinger at takissinger@gmail.com. Welcome. My name is Bill Cooper. The name of the show here is Savannah at Night, and what we try to do here is to bring in some good people who are involved with the arts in Savannah, be it poetry, acting, comedy, whatever it is. I know a collection of good people like that, and we've already been on the show. This is I believe, the third or fourth week we've done it, and tonight is no exception. I know you're going to enjoy it. Tonight I have with me two of my friends. I have Kathy Ryerson. Hi,
Hello,
Kathy.
Bill.
And Jeannie O'Conner.
Good to be here, Bill.
Now, I know these two lovely young ladies from acting at Wilmington Island Methodist Church. I've been in, I believe, 3 or 4 plays out there, and come to know them through that. And I just want to tell you that, and I've said it many a times, the dedication in local theater is the same. It doesn't matter if you're a professional on Broadway or anywhere. It's the same dedication that people put into it. The actors put the time into it to learn the script and to try to entertain you. The director, of course, is the one that has that's really in charge of it. She's herding cats, trying to get this thing to work.
Sure.
And so anyway, Kathy, I'm going to start with you. Now, you've directed a couple of plays that I've been in, and I want you to tell us a little bit about how you go about it and what your goal is when you have the role of directing a play here in Savannah.
Well, because we are limited in how many people come out for auditions, a lot of young people have a lot going on in their lives. So it seems like I've mostly got older folks, retired people, maybe some school teachers. So the first thing I do is go through all the plays I can think of that fit the very talented people that I know we have. We've got a wonderful stable of talented actors and very dedicated people, and they're a pleasure to work with. Even you, Bill.
I know. I've said that many a time. I am a pleasure to work with.
And so that's what I do first, is try to find a play that I know I can cast. And then we put the ad out there to everybody, come and audition. And sometimes we're surprised. We get more than we expected. We get some young people, and it's wonderful. And then I can expand on what I might do the next time.
And I've noticed that it seems though each play there is 1 or 2 new faces come in, and
yes.
they put the same work and effort into it as everyone else. It's great, and if they come and stay and come back again, terrific. But even if they were only there for that one play, they did what everyone needs. It
That's
takes,
right.
as I say, it really takes a village to put a play on.
It does. And people who think, oh, I could never do that. I could never get on stage. I always say, if you just get involved in any way, even if it's in production, help with the props, help build the set, which is always fun. A lot of people then realize, hey, I can do that. And then the next show they'll say, hey, I'd like to do a part, and I'll look for a part for them.
It's amazing. If you haven't done it, and you really feel as if you want to, listen to Kathy. And it doesn't have to be there. It can be at any place, any local theater, a group that's putting on a play. When they put out a casting call, an audition, go. And I remember the first play I did, just to give you a little confidence, I was 60 years old. And I said to the director of the play at the time, and it was a musical, and I'm a great bathtub singer, and that's about it. And I told him, I says, I've never acted before. And what he said made me feel better. He says, some of my best actors have been first-timers.
That's right.
So,
very true.
As I'm saying, if you have the urge, do it. I would rather have done it and done miserably and at least come off and said, you know what, I tried, I gave it an effort, than to wonder all my life if I should have done it.
That's right. And in community theater, you're really not judged because we're not expecting Paul Newman to come in and take a part. So
Right.
it's
too
not
late.
like a chorus line where you're out. You get a good chance. You get lots of support. The rest of the cast is always very supportive. And if you're not comfortable at the end of it, then don't do it again. But a lot of people will just stay to be part of it in some other position.
But I've seen actors grow, too.
Oh,
they
yeah.
listen to direction. They listen to some of the other actors. Now, I don't give any actor advice, except if they say, Bill, what do you think of that? I said, well, okay, I'll just give you my take on it.
sure.
But you ought to be talking to the director, because I'm
Right.
not telling you how to do it. I'm just saying this is my take on it.
Yes.
And I think you'd be more comfortable like this. But once again,
I
it
have
isn't
had
my
the
call.
occasional, all of a sudden something else is going on the stage, and I'll say, what are you doing? Oh, well, so-and-so told me to do it. And it's like, no, that's not the way we do it.
No, but that's, and once again, it is, it's structured. It has to be. To get a good product, it has
Right.
to be structured. But it's not hard. There's nothing that anyone can do. And as I say, I beat this point enough. If you feel you want to do it. Now, some people don't ever want to do it, and that's fine. We're not talking about that. If you don't want to do it and you want to be in that audience, you are contributing to that play
That's
by
an
coming to the audience.
absolutely important part.
You're a huge contribution. Hi, Jeannie.
Hello there, Bill.
This is Jeannie O'Conner, one of my fellow actors, and I'm going to ask a little about you. Jeannie, did you always act? Did you act when you were young in school and going on, or did this come as it did for me when, long after you had left school?
Actually, it was long after I left school,
Mm-hmm.
and I was still teaching at the time, and I heard on a radio station a commercial asking for actors, singers, dancers, models, and I thought, I can do that. And
Isn't that the key?
always.
I can do that.
But, listening to you
like
and
to try.
Kathy talk about not forcing someone to do something, I have found that if there's the little bit of an inkling there, I wonder, by all means, go for it.
True.
And I answered this casting call, and I was cast. There was actually an acting convention, and I wrote my own monologue for it, and I had a commercial to do, and I walked the runway, and from there I got to interview casting directors, and the most important thing that they gave me for advice is you should have theater on your resume. Casting directors
Right.
appreciate theater. I trained for television and film.
Okay.
Different animal.
It is.
It is.
But the
Right.
theater, there are no do-overs. And one learns improv. But the thing about you were talking about going on auditions, if a person's really serious about getting into the acting, I would advise, number one, theater by all means. But an actor can learn from other actors. They see how they're auditioning. You're not going to copy that individual.
No,
You're going to bring out your
No.
own stuff, but it should give you the confidence there. And the director always cues you as to how they would like this character to be. And that's the thing I think that's the hardest thing for me, like you're getting into character, and then once you go over in the rehearsals and you're with the other actors, you're learning your lines, taking your cue from your director, that character develops. You've been into the play,
Right.
You've read the play, you develop a backstory, because I'm being technical now, but anyone that is interested in getting into an acting role, and you get that little urge, that's your cue to enter stage.
And one of the benefits is the side benefits, and this is no kidding. It sounds like an exaggeration, but for 6 weeks usually of rehearsal, sometimes it's 8, depending
Yeah.
on the
Unless
the
there's
play.
a hurricane, and then it might be 10.
Oh, thank you, Matthew. Thank you. Right, yeah. But for that amount of time, you become like a family.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
It really is. You go in there right after supper, or and you're rushing out to get there, and then for the next 3 hours in rehearsal, you are with people that are there for the same reason, and they're likable people.
Yes.
And there's
very much
always a
so.
letdown after
There is.
the final performance.
No.
It's like,
Unless I have to take the stage apart. There's no.
seriously, I mean, that exit call,
There
that's
is.
it. I mean, it's oh my. And
Right.
to get back into your real world, if you were,
And you
it's
think
just,
of all the time, all the work, all the learning. And
But
then
you know what? It goes
that's
by.
it. And then the final bow, and it's gone. But you know what it does? It makes me look forward. I wonder what they're going to do next. I wonder if I could do. I wonder if I'll be around. I'll be able to. And that's the good part of it.
I can't imagine what it would be like to do a show. I've done community theater my whole life since I was 7 years old.
Now you're talking acting mostly.
Everything.
Okay, good.
Everything. I
Right.
started directing in my 20s, but I did acting, I did producing, I did props, I did everything. And it was always everybody did everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody built the set. Everybody brought costumes. Everybody put the stage up and took the stage down. I drove a truck. We had one troupe that we traveled all the time, and I got lost a lot, but I drove that truck.
Well, I kid about, I don't like taking the stage down, but I do it, and
Sure.
everyone does
Yeah,
what they
everybody pitches
can.
in. Yeah.
And it seems to be not a problem. That isn't it. Once again, it gets to that family thing. And
Exactly.
and I'm talking about families that get along real good, and that's what it seems to be.
Yeah.
Never had a problem. And as I said, I've been acting since I was, for 13 years now. And I have never had a problem either in a SCAD film, Savannah College of Art and Design, and I've done over 40 of them, with anyone on those sets.
Right.
They are determined. They're there for a purpose, a good purpose, and it's the kind of thing that's fun to do. And it's not, it's not like shoveling coal all day long. It's fun to do. So you're around people that have that kind of like, that bright
That's right.
personality, and they just seem to be. Never had a problem. You hear, someone's a prima donna and that. Well, everyone's different, but it doesn't mean, you can't get along with them, and they're not willing to help you and that. Everyone's different. And speaking of different, okay, now, Kathy, when you had to learn a script, what was your technique for learning it? Because I think this is the one thing that keeps some people saying, "Oh, I could never memorize that."
Right. Well, I was always really good at memorizing, and what I would do is read the script, to be very familiar with the story and with what everybody else was doing and saying, and then as I would get blocked, as we get moved around the stage, I would be very aware of what the other person was saying, where I am in the conversation, and then I would just commit it to memory. I mean, I just was good at that. I haven't acted in a while. I don't know if I could still do that, but that seemed to always work for me. I know my mom, who acted her whole life, did the listening to the tape recorder. She would have all the other person's lines on the tape recorder, and then she would say her own lines.
And as I say, there are different techniques. Now, Jeannie, how about you? When you have a play, what is it that inspires you, or what methods do you use to learn that script?
I concur with Kathy in that one must read the script, get into the story. And an actor is given a script after they're cast. So the director will introduce that character to the actor. So upon reading and then getting into that character, how do you think that character is going to act in certain situations? And after reading, the lines just come to me because I become that character.
Good for you.
And the lines
yeah.
come
And
to
I-
me.
And Jeannie is a very quick study. Thank you, Jeannie.
Thank you.
Oh, Jeannie. Oh, well, maybe it had to do with her career. She was a teacher, so
That could
she's
be.
used to
Yep.
reading something, comprehending it, and doing. Where other people they may not have that in their job calling, but so it might be a little tougher for them to do it.
I might point out, and it's true, especially if one is just starting out, because this doesn't happen overnight. This takes a long time to develop.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But one must be serious about study. So if they're going to commit themselves to a play, the director has casted them, and that actor owes the cast and the director the commitment. And study is important.
Because
You
we're
must
all
take-
tied together. If
Absolutely.
everyone's off
Everyone
book.
depends on you. And,
And
there's
someone
no
else
do-overs. Right. And
Is-
you have to show respect for your other actors. But
Exactly.
you do learn the lines, and it is study.
Right.
But going over the rehearsal, it comes to you with the rehearsal if you're listening.
It
your
cements it.
interaction with the other actors, and you develop
It
your
does, yeah, it
character.
does.
Yes.
What did you do to learn that teeny tiny part you agreed to do for me, Bill?
Okay, all right. Now here comes the disclaimer. As I used to say to my mother, you heard from the principal, now you're going to hear the truth. Okay, what I do when I if I get chosen, as soon I can't get that script quick enough. And the first thing I do, I don't read it first. I go through it, look for my part, and highlight everywhere I show up in there. Then I go back, double check, make sure I didn't miss anything.
That's important.
And that's the first thing I do. And I got to be honest with you, some of them I have never read all the way through. I am a naturally very slow reader. Always have been. Once I learn something, it's there. But I promise you, any play I've been in, I've read that part 100 times minimum to get that in my head. But once it's there good. I'm just, that's just me, and I know that. I do not have that ability to read something, scan it, and absorb it.
But now what happens? Do you learn what the other person is going to say too? What if they say something completely different than what you're supposed to respond to? Does that throw you?
No, I throw them. No. Oh, well, okay, so that happened, and that has happened. We can get into that in a few minutes. But I just want to point this out, too. Now, I'm fortunate. My wife, Mary Ann, is so patient. When I have a script, she knows how really, I just want to do it well.
Right.
And everyone does. Everyone that's connected with it. And she will take do you have time to read with me now? No, but I will in 10 minutes. And she does. I mean, just no problem. And her reading the part before my part makes it much easier for me to learn.
Very good tool.
If
you've got somebody to do that for you.
Otherwise,
yes.
you're reading twice as much because you have to read that part that brings you to it so you're familiar with when to come in. And by her doing that, it makes my job easier. And I said, if I'm successful, I have to, and I do it sincerely. I always thank her for the help and time that she's given me to get there.
And do you say, Marianne, just switch it up. Throw me some curveballs. Give me the wrong cue. Let me see if I can do it.
Oh.
No,
that
then
ever
it takes
happens.
your mind. No, I want that in right correctly. However, all right, we're talking about curveballs. Sometimes somebody will say the wrong line. We've all seen that. Whether it's in rehearsal, then someone will say, and then they'll stop and say line, and then they'll come back to it. Can't do that during the play,
No,
you say.
you cannot.
Safety net's gone. However, I remember doing it in a play. I am talking, and I had a lot of dialogue in this too, an awful lot. And I'm looking at the guy. We are sitting in chairs opposite each other, our noses a foot and a half apart. And he says something, and I'm just staring at him. I could not think of what that line was. And it was, it didn't get awkward, but he said, then he said something else too, and he knew what was going on, and he knew that, Billy Blanksteer was in front of him. And then finally, I got something that was close to it and got through it. It wasn't long enough. It seemed like an hour and a half. It might have been 10 seconds, but it just seems like forever because you don't want to do that and you have to get past it. But what I did was come up with something close, and then I drifted right back into it and did, never happened again for that play for the run. But so, it can. The thing is, don't panic.
And the audience never knows.
Oh, sometimes.
Yeah, if there's dead silence for,
that's
30
it.
seconds.
You
Yeah.
don't want the dead air.
Yeah. Anyway, as I say, hey, once again, we're amateurs. None of us are professionals. However, even the professionals goof up. but they cover it very well because they've done it for so long. Mm-hmm. And what, to get back to it, as I said, the reason I did this show, when I saw them looking for ideas for do a show, I was saying, wow, I have been involved in so much. As I still have old scripts. I look at the amount of work I've done, the amount of people I have met, and I says, it'd be nice. They're looking for a show. Tell people about what's going on in Savannah, because unfortunately, far too many people come home after work, after school, pick up the remote, and that's the rest of the day.
That's true.
And there's so much going on that they're missing. Music. I mean, poetry.
Yes.
Plays, musicals. Get out and enjoy it.
We've got so much here. We've got galleries. Savannah's a wonderful place to get out and enjoy the arts, all of the arts.
For a city this size, we are blessed to have this much. And I always go back to Savannah College of Art and Design. You have 7,000 students here involved in the arts, and that influence just flows over into the community. They put their own productions on, but they also supply actors and musicians and anything else that's involved in the arts to help this community. It's the difference between, dry toast and something good on it. When you have art, an active art community where you
Yes.
live, and we do. And I'm just, as I say, the only purpose of this show is to get people that never get out and enjoy them to say, you know what, I'll see. And it's short money, too. It's not very expensive to
No.
go to these events.
And then how many times do you have people say, "Oh, I didn't know you were in that play. Why didn't somebody tell me?" And I'm guilty of it too. I used to go to all the SCAD musicals. I don't even know if they do SCAD musicals anymore.
They still do plays. I'm not sure about musicals.
But they used to do at the Lucas. I saw wonderful things there. I'm sure if I went to the SCAD website, I could
Right.
see if they're doing
Right.
it.
In
I
fact,
really need to do that.
I'll be going out next weekend to Armstrong. They have putting on a play, The Underpants. It was a Steve Martin adaptation. And I actually was in a production of it here in Savannah about a year and a half ago. And so it's going to be interesting to see someone else's take on it.
Yes.
And
yeah.
that's next weekend. They're only one weekend only because it's summertime and, most of the students are going. But
And those things are well attended. I tried to go, I forget which show it was.
they'll sell out.
And we got there and there were just no seats.
They will sell out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can buy the tickets online.
You have to do it in advance.
Yeah, that's the smart way. So, Jeannie, acting. All right. Now, have you done any singing? Have you been in musicals?
No, I prefer not to do musicals. They're very difficult. I like to do dramas.
Right.
And there's comedy in the drama, and there's serious in the drama, But I'd like to get back to your point where you were saying about being a slow reader. Mm-hmm. I think that's very encouraging, because I think when someone has to do a cold read in front of a director for an audition, that can be a very intimidating thing. So I like how you said that. And further, how you had the aid of Marianne, because that also helps you get into character and remember your lines, because you have to listen to her and know when you come in. And that's how, when you say you get in that tight spot where you're having to improv, and knowing the line before, after, you can most times think of something
that's fitting,
that will fit and
Right.
draw that actor out,
Right.
and then go on with things, because nothing is scarier than that dead air.
right? And you
and
try, but the important thing is, as you said, don't let it be scary. Don't let it throw you. Just hey,
No.
this happened, and I'll deal with it, and this is the best I can do right now. But we all have that, and never let it's. I don't know if I'm inspiring people that haven't acted that want to, but I'm trying to, because it's not, if it's something you want to do, no matter what it is, you can do it, because the main ingredient is you want to do
Exactly.
it. That's
And
the
it's-
main ingredient
it's
on
fun.
anything.
And yes, it does. You should make it fun. I think another important element that would help actors is, if possible, find out where the workshops are. You want to be able to take something
There's some good ones.
having to do with character development and scene study, that's
Right.
all one, and an improv workshop. And that will get the jitters. That will help you feel more comfortable about transitioning from
Jeannie,
one
where,
spot
where
to
did
another.
you find those? Because you did those workshops.
I've
Were they
done
through
many.
Armstrong or SCAD, or were they private?
All over.
Really?
Back in the day, before everything was being put on Facebook, people would advertise about workshops.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I got into that. Plus, I was doing dinner theater at the time, and there were actors on my cast who had a heads up to the workshops. And I was so hungry to learn. And that was it. I mean, and I could take criticism.
Oh, you have to.
When a
You
director
have to.
corrects
Absolutely.
you, I say never
Yes.
answer back a director.
And don't
They
take it personally.
Precisely. It's you have to. This is your way of being trained, and a director will see that you're coachable. An actor has to appreciate that the director has a picture in their mind. The actor's job is to bring that picture to life, and they
Yep.
can only do it with the director's cue. And that's how things get going, and you grow that way.
You just mentioned dinner theater.
Yes.
Tell me about. I've never done it.
Oh,
I've been
dear.
to. I think I've.
You
only
haven't
been
acted until you've done dinner theater.
I'm sure, but I mean, I've been to one, and it just seemed like fun. This was before I even
Oh,
acted. It just
my.
seemed like what they were doing there was the most fun I've seen, because you're so close to them. They're walking by your tables and talking to you, and that just seemed like so much fun. Now was it to you?
Precisely. I started out, as I said, being trained for television and film. Now that's one genre. We can have a conversation here. You mess up on your line, you hear cut, retake,
Right.
the whole bit. Then you get into theater. Now your energy level is that much more. You have to throw your voice further, and you're animated in a different way. But dinner theater is over the top. And you are in character the whole time. You are taking orders. So when the people, we set up the restaurant the way to adapt to our theater,
Right.
and we walked in and out of the tables. We greeted the patrons come in, and we took their drink order, and then we took their dinner order. So these plays were written such that, we actors were actually serving. And
Was
this, and
that
the
your
lines were-
experience, Bill? Were you
And-
served by the actors? Because I never heard of that.
Oh yeah, that's how we
She
did
had to
here
be a
in Savannah.
waitress and an
Well,
actress.
Well, actually,
You didn't have to cook, did you?
no, but
I
here's
had
how
to
it worked.
eat. You think that was easy? I had to eat.
Well, yeah, but what I was saying is the play was written that it was a wedding,
Right.
so we're
right.
at the reception, and where the wedding planner would tell people, all right, bring out the salads, and then of course we did that, and then the play went
Yeah,
on while
they-
they're
they did.
eating,
You're
right. They did,
and
yeah.
then now it's dinner time. Bring
Yeah.
out the dinner, the
Yeah.
whole bit. But it's a constant.
And did you get tips?
We did. People were most kind to us.
And that's nice.
That is nice.
That is
Yes.
nice.
Even if
But-
you were the murderer, they still
Oh.
gave you a tip?
Actually, I was murdered.
Oh.
I was really
Oh,
this.
the sympathy tip.
Yes, you got the sympathy tip.
But I came back as my twin
What did
sister.
they do for... okay, because I was going to say,
Evil.
who served
I
dessert
played
if
a
you were
dual
killed?
role. Yeah.
Was it the evil twin? Either one of them?
Well, the first one was evil.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah.
she got bumped off, and the nicer one came back on and solved the murderer.
Oh, and
Solved the murder.
How convenient.
Very.
before dessert.
Precisely. And it was a comedy,
Right.
and
Sure.
we thoroughly
Sure.
enjoyed
That
we-
does sound like fun.
We
I've
played the
never done that.
hotels in town. We did the riverboat.
Good.
Oh,
And
my.
Excuse me one second. I have to do a station identification here. You're listening to WRUU-LP Savannah, Georgia 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. And I'd like to give you another reminder what's coming up. WRUU is now collecting items for the annual Savannah Soundings fundraising auction. The auction will run from July 15th to July 30th, with proceeds going to WRUU to continue providing both great music and a voice for the Savannah community. Auction items range from gift cards to vouchers for products and services that are guaranteed to delight and surprise. Tell everyone you know about donating and about the auction. Donations can be made now. For information on donation, contact Trent Kissinger at takissinger@gmail.com. And now I'd just like to play a word from our friends at Sentient Bean.
This portion of WRUU-LP Savannah Soundings programming is made possible by a grant from Sentient Bean, offering fair trade coffee, vegan and vegetarian food, and breakfast all day. Located at 13 East Park Avenue, across the street from the tennis courts at Forsyth Park. Our menu and special events listings can be found at sentientbean.com.
Okay, hi, we're back now, and once again, this is Bill Cooper. The name of the show is Savannah at Night, and I have my guests with me tonight. We have two of my friends. One is Kathy Ryerson, who directed some plays I was in, and one is Jeannie O'Conner, who appeared with me in plays I was in. And I got to tell you, Jeannie, now, since we're all in a good mood and laughing, the time I had to kiss you with my wife, Mary Ann, sitting in the front row, it didn't bother me. I know it's acting. However, you tightened up by my... Because you know, Mary Ann, did that bother you?
I wouldn't say it bothered me, but I thought about it because Mary Ann was directly in front of me,
I know,
even
yeah.
though it was the audience and we are actors.
Right,
I'm thinking, all right, come on. An actor can't let that get in the way.
No, but
An
I
actor
really
knows-
felt at that one time, that was
Yeah.
the only time I saw you not deliver.
Oh, my golly.
And it was
Now you tell me.
Oh, it was, I mean, you were like cardboard. It was, I know that had to have an effect. And I said, Mary Ann knows me. What's she going to do? Well, kick me out and a lot of sue me and, divorce me. Other than that, what's she going to do?
Yeah, precisely. Oh,
No,
that's
but I mean,
funny.
that was, I think, no. Oh, then I had another, that was nothing. That was one quick kiss.
Right.
It was a good Protestant church kiss.
Right.
However, I was in a play one time out at Tybee, and I had kiss, but it was those long, involved kisses with the actress I was acting with, and this is on a couch right in front of the stage, and of course, Mary Ann comes to everything I'm in, so she was there on one of the nights, and as I say, it's just, I totally block it out. I never let that fourth wall is there. It's like they're not there. But I always tell her, I say, you know what? The fact that you're there, anytime you come out and see something I do, it makes me feel good because you give me so much support, and I feel a little better. I think I perform a little better when you're there. You just put me up to a different level. And, I know I'll have dessert tonight. When
And
I go home.
that goes to how important a really good audience is. There are so many people used to watching TV. They go and sit at a play and don't laugh out loud. They're enjoying it.
Right.
But the actors don't know they're enjoying it because people are used to... I laugh out loud at television, but most people don't. And it's so important for the actors to know you're there. And sometimes you get people who will go, oh, no, she didn't, and the actors will hear that, and it's very encouraging. But silence, you're wondering if, there's crickets out there.
Try stand-up comedy.
Oh, really?
You think it's bad in a
But
play.
they're there to laugh.
Well, if I'm in a play, I'll say someone else wrote that. I guess it wasn't funny. But when I write it and they don't laugh, well, I know it's them.
But as you're
No.
looking out at them, do you see people grinning ear to ear, just not
Yes,
making any
yes.
sound? What
You
is
know.
that?
I think I don't know. There probably is a psychology about it.
I think
because
it
I remember
has
they
to do
did
with
a.
television and movies.
I remember in a television studio, they did a test one time. They had one person come in, and they had a comedian in front of them telling them some stuff that was a riot. I'm at home laughing, and that one person wouldn't laugh. And then they brought two or three more, and a little nervous laughter. And as they kept adding people, the laughter got louder and louder. By the time they filled the auditorium, pretty much not the same joke, but the same vein of jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was good, and they were all enjoying it. So they said there's a psychology about people being alone or feeling alone. If it's a smaller crowd, they really don't want to call attention to themselves by laughing.
That's true. But
yeah.
if somebody else laughs, and that's why I always had, up in New York, I always had my brother-in-law who was just from Boston, like you,
Lucky.
and a good laugher, and an infectious laugh.
Yes.
And if he was
We
out
love
there,
them.
then that's what I always do. You guys can always hear me laughing in the back, and people do
Right.
pick up, oh, that was supposed to be funny. Oh, okay.
We're saying the same
We'll
thing
laugh.
on the stage. That was supposed to be
That was
funny.
funny, folks. It's okay.
Kathy likes it. Kathy likes it. We're good. Okay, Jeannie, did you ever find, once again, we're from different parts of the country. We live in Savannah because we like it, and it's a great city. But do you ever find anyone saying, the accent won't work in what we're doing?
I've had to change my accent several times. That's very true. Sometimes the accent will work against you.
So,
And it's some accents are easier than others, so it all depends on the character.
right. But you
Yeah.
give it an attempt to change it.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
And I think there again, if one is in character, that will come about. But there are times when an actor will have to listen. They'll have to maybe see a movie that has that similar type of accent. So maybe if you hear it often enough.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because you're saying something and you hear yourself, but you're not hearing what others are hearing.
Really, you don't hear. Remember with Maryland
Yes.
in Philadelphia, you say
Right.
Merlin.
Right.
And I had no idea what she was saying.
Precisely.
I finally hit,
and I
"What-
thought I
what
was
are you
doing okay.
saying?"
Right. But again, there's a thing with the actor
Right.
taking the cue.
But you learned it. You did.
Precisely, and to do that. But getting back to the laughter thing, Bill, it's different from doing comedy. One accepts the laughter. In other words, I would think that an audience would be supportive enough to freely laugh because that's the venue for laughter. Whereas when an actor is on stage and they're delivering a laugh line, that actor, while that audience is laughing, we as actors have to give the audience permission to laugh.
That's
There
true.
has to be a little bit of a gap. So let's say you and I are in a
Right.
play together. You have a laugh line. The audience laughs. I, as the other actor responding to you, have to give the audience permission to laugh before I respond to you.
Absolutely. You have to
And
let them
that's-
finish. You have to let, or else they're going to
Yeah.
miss the dialogue because they're
Precisely.
laughing.
Right.
And they
And
won't
so they'll
laugh
stop
anymore.
laughing. Yes, that's
Right.
true.
Right.
And then
uh,
the actor feels like, oh no, they're not laughing. I'm throwing my lines away.
Right.
When you do
They
have
just
to
didn't
give
want to miss any of it.
right,
Yes, that's
right.
true.
And I found that in plays I've been in, the best crowds are Friday night, and I'm thinking they worked all week. They just
Yeah.
want to relax and have a good time, and they seem to be the most
Very
involved at the right
receptive.
time crowd. Whereas Sunday afternoon,
They've been
I
in the
think
garden. They're sleepy.
no, I mean, not. This doesn't mean all the time or every time, but in plays I've been on Sunday afternoon, you had to pull teeth to get a reaction.
That's
it just
true.
seemed to be, that was the way. And when I first started acting, I said, "There's a Sunday afternoon crowd. Be prepared. It's not going to be the same, And whatever it is, you still give it. And I think I can't say I try hard. I try hard every time I go out there, but. I'm not going to let them beat me. I know this is funny. I'm going to keep doing it.
That's right.
I'm going to win.
Precisely.
And
Right.
sometimes you do. Mm-hmm. But whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The point is they're there because they want to be. I'm not criticizing them. I'm saying everyone's different. Every person is different. Everyone in your family is different. So if they don't want to laugh, but they paid to come and see us and it helps some nonprofit organization, I'm not going to say they shouldn't be here. Why would I?
Right,
That's
right.
ridiculous. Anyway,
Have
okay.
you been told that your accent is wrong for the part? I mean, I've had you be a Russian with a Boston accent and a German with a Boston accent, and I think you were a British person too, weren't you?
What I do is, if it's like an obvious a spoof German or
Right.
spoof Russian,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I'll go to Russian to him. I'll bring that
Actually,
out.
you did a good Russian. And you
That's-
did a good German. Is that what you were in Arsenic and Old Lace? No, you were supposed to be German, right?
supposed to
When
be
you were the
Peter
crazy
Lorre.
doctor. Yes, that's right.
I really did. I tried to do a Peter Lorre.
You did a good
Because Peter
job.
Lorre was much shorter than me as an actor. So I said, and he played that part. I said, how can I make myself small? So instead of talking like this, I talk like this. And it,
Yes, it did
and
make you smaller.
Pat Hoffman. I said, Pat, you notice how I made myself small? She said, Bill, I don't miss anything. And she didn't.
No,
Yeah.
that's funny.
So, okay, as far as accents, I remember one time, this is true, I'm sitting in a coffee shop with a friend of mine playing cards. And there is this was about 10 years ago, and there is this absolutely gorgeous, well-dressed, way overdressed for a coffee shop in the middle of the afternoon woman, probably if 30, just close to it. Anyway, and just, you had to look twice at her. This woman was outstanding. She just was something. So, I'm talking to my friend, I'm just saying a few things. And after about half an hour or so, she gets up. She had a notebook and different things. She comes up to me and says, excuse me. She says, do you act? And I says, yes, I do. She says, would you like to have a tryout? And we're casting here in Savannah and they were doing a full-length movie. And I says, yeah. And I'm thinking, all right, is this a joke or something? Yeah. She says, okay. Could I have your phone number? I said, you bet. I gave her my phone number. By the time I got home, Mary Ann says, so-and-so called, and you have an audition time tomorrow. And so I went to it. But now it gets back to the accent. I read the part. There was something about my look that she really wanted. And the director was there and from out of state. And this was going to be a decent film. And he's there standing. Usually the director of a film isn't there when you're doing auditions.
No, right.
It's the casting director that's there. But the director came in, and he's standing in front of me 3 feet away, which doesn't intimidate me, staring at me as I'm doing my lines. She's there, and the cameraman was there. And there was at least maybe one more. And they are all in front of me. Okay, go, read the line. And I was supposed to be a doctor from Savannah. So, first of all, I read the line to let them, whatever the character was, try to develop the character first, let them know a little bit from just reading a couple aside what it should be. And I said, well, I think it would be something like this. And I read my line. And he looked at me and he says, do it like a refined Southerner from Savannah would do it. I said, well, I can slow it down and roll my R's. And then I read like, thank guests and listeners. Turn off microphone. Click yellow box under. But I guess it wasn't slowed down in Savannah enough. I didn't get the part, but it was amazing. I'm thinking, there I am. I've gone out for parts and not got them.
But here they wanted you.
Here they picked me out of a coffee shop.
They didn't want the Boston accent.
And that was what tripped me up. That was my Achilles heel. But you know what? I didn't feel bad about it. I had a shot.
So do you prefer film to stage work or stage work to film?
I think it's like blueberry pie or apple. I love them both.
You like them both? Okay.
I really do. The only problem I've been having lately with stage, and I know that's what you two are involved in mostly, is that the time. Between the comedy, I write comedy. I appear at several places in the city. I host my own show. Once a month at Foxy Loxy, but the time to put 6 weeks or 8 weeks into it sometimes isn't there, and I do not want to cheat anyone else there. But anyway, to get back to a point here, the most recent play we did, which was
Harvey, as you say.
Harvey, get over here, Harvey. So I happened to have I had a problem that I had to deal with my leg. So during the middle of the rehearsals, I had to have it operated on. And Kathy asked me if I wanted to be in it. I said, I don't even know if I can do it. I said, and she gave me the puppy dog eyes and like, I said, I will try it, but I just want you to know if I'm unable to, I'm being honest with you. But if I say I do something, I will. I'll give it an attempt. And anyway, we did it and it went on. But she says, Bill, it's not going to be tough. It's not a very big part anyway. I wore out a highlighter with I'm there. Marianne, you know what Kathy said? Yeah. Oh, what did she do?
You only got one scene. Didn't I tell you there was only one scene?
Did she snooker me?
I really didn't realize.
Yeah, I know you didn't realize.
Because compared to Dan's part, compared to the main character, everybody else had tiny parts.
It wasn't tiny.
No,
I
it was
not in until the very end of the first. There was 3 parts. I was into.
There was actually one scene you were not in, but you were on all the time. All the other.
That's
time.
What I'm saying. I know. Yeah, and with dialogue, not just waving. I was with the dialogue. But anyway, I had the time off because I couldn't even get out of the house after the operation.
Such a good job. Yes, that's right. So you had all that time to learn the part.
And I just want to thank you and the rest of the ones that were in the play for helping me get there, putting the wheelchair in my car, driving me there, getting the wheelchair up on stage and having me crawl up there with the crutches and make it work. Even the blocking, I'd be moving the wheelchair. All right, go over there now, Bill. And it's a pain. But, it gave me
adapted. They were really good.
But it just gave me, I've never disrespected anyone with a handicap, but
That's
it gave
for
me
sure.
more respect for them because I realized every little thing was an effort.
Yes.
And I just salute them. They were able to do it. Absolutely. And fortunately, I was able to walk just before the play went on, and I just didn't want anything distracting. I didn't want to be there on crutches or something or a cane and distracting from my part in the play. So everything worked out good.
It did. It did. It's
Well,
good.
two things, Bill, you brought up. The fact that making the character work on stage, and that worked out. That's the beauty of community theater. So your director works with you on that. You mentioned something about not getting a role. That's one thing we actors have to appreciate.
Right.
This is a rejection business.
Oh, you can't take it personal. No way. Right.
If one auditions and doesn't get a call back, don't give up.
Right.
Because the director has to appreciate it. It's a blending process where characters have to fit together. And just because one is not cast doesn't mean that they were a poor actor. It's just that what you were was
Doesn't
not
fit the image
exactly.
the director has.
So keep trying.
But they might have seen something that
Yes,
in the future
and they'll
they're going to
remember
do.
You'll get
That's
a call
right.
back
And
at
don't
a
be
later
afraid
date.
to go back if you
That's
didn't
happened
get
Because you weren't cast
so
the first
often.
time, that's true.
And this is why you want to put your best foot forward and never give up. This is what Kathy does. There are people that come out, and at that point in time, they can't be cast, but Kathy contacts those people in future projects.
Right.
I was going to say,
And they
we've
say
been
no.
using the
And
term.
that's important.
Yes,
That's true.
and we've been using the term blocking.
Right.
And to enlighten our audiences that are not familiar, that's the director cueing the actor on stage or on the set of where they should be, how they should be, and how that line should be delivered if they need the director to give them the lines. But that's what the term blocking means. So it's the actor's
So when
skills.
Bill all of a sudden had a wheelchair on the
Right.
stage, people had to move into
We-
different spots.
Exactly.
Right.
And everybody
And
adapted.
we
It was
did.
really
We
very
did
good.
adapt.
You did a good
I
job.
was your wife in that play too, Bill.
We're just meant for each other.
Jeannie, with the films I've done in Savannah, there's a ton of really good, talented local actors.
Really, true.
And you don't know how many I have to pay alimony to because I was married
had
to them
so
in a
many
play or a
spouses.
film.
How many I ran off with.
One of them says, "You treated me badly."
What are you going to do?
That's a good thing. It was written that way.
Yeah, right.
I'll tell you, you talk about doing musicals. People love a musical. And they ask me all the time why don't you do a musical?
Oh.
Besides needing 20 people on a tiny stage and an orchestra
Right.
and a
support
music
cast. Oh,
director
my golly,
and
yeah.
people who can sing.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I am so impressed by people who can put on a musical. But again, most of the companies here that do musicals have people that they use
It's a
again and
support
again and
staff.
again
Yeah,
because
right.
they know what they can do.
I've told this story before, but it's worth repeating. Once again, I'm 60 years old. I go to a casting call. I had no business being there, but I says, I want to do it. So I get there, and it was a musical, Into the Woods, and I am sitting down, and I am sinking into my chair because, number one, I was 60. There was no one there, even, I think 40 might have been the next oldest, and maybe one or two, and then everyone else was down to about 8 years old. They had 30 people that night trying out for 19 parts, and then they were going to have the second night of it, so probably 60 people trying out for 19 parts. And I am listening to voices that are astounding.
Yes.
This is local people,
Local,
but doesn't mean anything.
it's-
If you can sing, you can sing. I'm being blown away. And I'm saying to myself, what did I do? But once again, I let my mouth put me into trouble. I was at a play the week before with Mary Ann when the director said that they were going to be casting for this. And as I said, never acted, and I just nudged her. I said, I'm going to do that. She says, good. So then Monday night came, and I said, tonight's that casting call. She said, good, you said you were going. Now I have to go.
Right.
There's no doubt
Made
about
that
it.
commitment.
So I waited about half of them were done, and then they took a break, and I went out and I talked to the director. I introduced myself. I said, I've never acted before. He said, don't worry, some of my best actors have been new. I said, but you have them doing the scale first. I said, I can sing if I stay in my key and something I like. I said, but, I don't want to goof that up. He said, would you rather do the scales afterward? I said, yeah. So then I have to get
Was
up
that
there.
nice?
But anyway, just to make a long story short, and everyone has their own different way of coming to a stage and starting. As I'm walking on that stage, I says, I have no business being here if I don't appear as if I bought and paid for this stage. It's mine. And I belted out 2 songs that you'd think, I had written them. There were 2 old 50s rock and roll songs that I loved. And I saw something happen in the audience because a lot of them were there with their kids. So they were parents age. And they, after, like the first half of people got up, they're getting a little tired. They probably worked hard all day, and they're getting tired. But as soon as I started singing, I see them sit up in their seat and look because I'm showing them something different. They were listening to show music, and I'm giving them something that was in the top 40 in rock and roll back when I was a kid. And I noticed the director look at the piano player there with his music man and kind of shake his head. So anyway, afterwards, I go home. As Marianne, I did. I not only did I did it the best I could. I really wailed it. I didn't hold back anything. I said, but you know what? He said he's going to call Thursday. If he doesn't call, I'm okay with it because I had the guts to get up there. And
That's
maybe I'll
right.
try it
That's
again
right.
someday. So once again, this long story is going to be shorter. I was going to a ball game that night, and I said it was about 5 minutes to 7. I said, you know what? Forget it. He isn't going to call. I leave. I come home at 10 o'clock. And all she did was look at me and say, Bob called, and I knew that was the director because I knew no one else down here named Bob. And she said, that's the only time since I've known you that nothing came out of your mouth. I couldn't believe it. I said, you got to be kidding me. I tried out for a play, first time ever, and I get in the part. It was, anyway, that was it.
And did you have to dance?
Yep, sing
Did you have
and
to dance in the audition?
Oh, no, thank goodness.
Oh, gee.
But
How
the
much are we
dancing,
gonna work
the
with
dancing
that?
was-
Dancing in that isn't.
No, it
It's
wasn't
not Bob Fosse
complicated.
or something.
No. I'll never be invited to Dancing with the Stars. Marianne says, you can't dance. Good thing they didn't ask you.
Really?
And I said, are you kidding? You see that dance that guy's doing that? I could do that. And she just laughs like, yeah, right. All right. So anything that, you guys have been great. It's great having you here. We got another 10 minutes. But is there anything that you wanted to mention that might enlighten good listeners?
Well, I just want to thank you for having us because when you first asked me, I was thrilled.
Oh, great.
This really is an honor. And it's the first. And this is my debut. I've never been on a radio before. So
Nor
this
have
is
I.
so cool.
All right, let's hear it. Jeannie's first time on the
Yes.
radio. Good for you.
And
You've
it
done
is
fine.
thank you. This is an awesome experience when one gets casted for the first time. It's an unbelievable experience. Oh my, I can't believe it. But once that acting bug bites,
Right.
it's with you.
It is.
It's with you forever.
And knowing how much my troupe loves to be on stage and knowing that you give your all, that's why I usually look for a show that you'll be able to do again with room for some new people too.
Absolutely.
So someday I'll have enough to do a musical.
No, that's the beauty of working with Kathy because we have met many people and talk about people that haven't acted before, a little bit intimidated. Kathy encourages them. We've had, in the past few plays, we've had more than one person who's never done this before, and they were wonderful and come back to audition for subsequent plays as a result. They didn't, and their families are thrilled with them. Incidentally, where we perform, and we are local, the audience comes back, and if we're shopping or a post office, there are people that remember us. And it's funny, I say to them, you recognize me without my theater makeup, but the people are most kind.
Yes.
They're really appreciative
They
of.
do. They
They're
enjoy
very
it. They look
supportive
forward
of
to
us.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So soon we'll be looking forward to another play.
That's right.
They keep coming on. Now, how about you, Kathy? I know. Are we going to see you on stage sometime or just holding the book?
Well, I keep asking if anybody else wants to direct, and a couple of people said maybe, but no one has said, I'd like to direct this play. So unless I direct myself in something, which I wouldn't do because we've got so many good actors. I wouldn't want to take one of the actors' parts. So we'll see.
You could take someone's part. I mean,
Could I? Thanks.
no. I mean, sometimes. Well, as you go, I mean, I think it was close of not getting the part filled this last one, wasn't it?
Yes,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could
I
have
would have.
stepped
I
in.
would have stepped in.
Oh yeah, right. Because
There've been
when
a
you get
couple
that
of times
far-
when I thought, somebody's sick, or I may have to do this. So yeah, I have learned parts, but I haven't had to do that so far.
Yeah.
I do have to get up on stage and show people how to do it sometimes. That's kind of like having my fun acting, right?
Right. Okay. But it's not. Once again, it's a different club.
But,
You
you know,
know.
that's a neat thing when a director feels that they should always be able to feel that they can do that. It's the actor that needs to be receptive to that. And having that visual direction also, it was a great help. I know Kathy has done that for me in the past, and I thought, yeah, there are times when I'll be on stage and I know that I feel that I'm in character and I'm not comfortable with how I delivered a line, and I'll say, Kathy, will you give me that line? And that means that's my way of asking, Kathy, please tell me how I should say that line. And actors need to be receptive to a
And,
director
that's
doing that.
I think that's a very hard thing for actors
Yes,
to
it
do.
is.
That's what makes you so very directable. If I asked you to do it with a French accent
Right.
standing on your head, you'd say, okay.
You know, and an actor does have to do that. You know, they can't say, well, that's not how I see it. No, you know, actors have to be very receptive, and that's key.
Mm-hmm.
And the more they are, the more they learn, and the more successful they'll be.
But I have had, I mean, we are community theater, and nobody's a professional. And
Right.
I have had an actor say, how about if I did it this way?
Right.
And
They're braver than
I'll
I
say,
am.
well, do it. Let me see what it looks
Right.
like. And hey, you know what? That worked. That worked. So,
And
yeah,
it
you know,
does.
we have to be open to anything, really, any kind of change or inspiration that somebody might have. And if it doesn't work, I'll tell them. And then I expect them to, forget that idea.
Well, not only that, but, you know, that's the beauty of your directing style. That's another thing that an actor realizes when they're auditioning and they're doing plays in different theaters or different directors, that no two directors are alike.
True.
And you have given us that back and forth freedom. I mean, we've worked together in several plays.
Yes.
And that's why the actors keep coming back. We learn
Right,
from
because
each
they're-
other. And
Right. We're
And-
comfortable. Have you worked with a lot of directors in Savannah?
I've worked with two others, and I credit them with my background
Sure.
and their teaching styles, and I've carried that with me. I never let it go.
And it is a real learning experience.
It is a learning experience, and an actor must show respect to the director, the support staff, people that help. Another thing is to really be grateful. Be grateful for the audience that comes out. Be grateful for the light people. that light
Everyone's
up the
involved.
stage.
As seriously,
And-
whether you're up there or buying a
Right,
ticket or
but really
or
the
helping it put
behind the
together.
people, right? The people behind.
Look
the
how many people
backstage
that are
tech.
acting and bring their friends who don't act or anything,
Right.
but they're willing to help with the lighting. They're willing to help
Absolutely.
with
That's
the
right.
sound.
And that's a
That's
community
willing to
theater
help build
effort.
the stage or the
and
sets and move it around. One thing I found funny about acting is when when you're in the preliminaries, when you don't even have the furniture there that you're going to be using and walking around, and there's maybe a chalk mark or a tape mark on the floor. And then, this is the way it's going to look. I can't picture that. That's a chalk mark or a piece of tape on the floor. I am sorry. It does not look like a couch. I'm not imagining it as a couch. I can't do that.
No, and with our productions, you don't get the real thing until 5 days before the
Just
show.
That's what I
dress
mean.
Wait
that
a minute,
week,
there's
right?
a couch.
Everything looks different. All the blocking you've done, you say, and Kathy will
Then you
say,
have
no,
to-
Bill, you're on that side of the couch. Oh, okay. Bill, you just walked through the couch. Well, I did before. Anyway, once again, I thank you both for coming. This has
this was
been
fun.
Bill
Oh,
Cooper.
thank you.
The name of the show is Savannah at Night, and I've had my guests tonight, Kathy Ryerson and Jeannie O'Conner. And as I say, they're not just guests. I think they're friends, and I've acted with them enough to feel that way, and they're just nice people. And thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you
Thank
for
you,
having
Bill.
us.
This has been WRUULP, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul, and WRUU is now collecting items for the annual Savannah Soundings fundraising auction. The auction will run from July 15th to July 30th, with proceeds going to WRUU to continue providing both great music and a voice for the Savannah community. Auction items range from gift cards to vouchers for products and services that are guaranteed to delight and surprise. Tell everyone you know about donating and about the auction. Donations can be made now. For information on donations, contact Trent Kissinger at takissinger@gmail.com. And this is WRUU LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM. WRUU.org. We are